5 stars. Oh my god, I'm gonna sleep so much after I finish filming this video. So I don't know about you, but me personally, I'm very behind on my Goodreads goal. I think at this moment, I'm currently like 14 books behind. And I thought, what better way to put a good dent in that than to do a 24-hour reading challenge. This time I'm gonna try doing the start and stop timer method, where you try to just read as much as possible, but it might extend over a couple days. So I encourage you to also grab a book, maybe read along with me, and yeah, let's get into it. So to start off this challenge, I am jumping back into the current read that I'm on right now, which is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book in the Caraval trilogy. I just read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy and I was utterly obsessed. So this is her other series, and so far I'm absolutely loving it. I feel like it took a while to get into, but now that I am invested, I'm really enjoying it. And I'm about 13%, I believe, into Legendary. So I'm going to start my timer. We're actually gonna do it on my iPad this time because I feel like it would be fun to see the timer go as I read. 24 hours starting now. Explain a little bit about this series. Obviously I'm on the second book, so I don't want to give too much away, but it's essentially this mysterious fantasy game called Caraval, and it's kind of like a carnival. There's very like theatrical characters and it's all a game, but when you're in the game it feels very real, so characters can get swept away and kind of go insane. But basically the series is following two sisters who escape their abusive father, and they essentially run away to Caraval, and Scarlett, the sister that you're following, is trying to get back to her sister, and there's so much that happens. And then in the second book it's from Tella's perspective, and basically Tella has been trying to figure out Legend's real name. Okay, time for an update. I have officially made it past 5 hours of reading, which all things considered, this has been very fast paced. Like it's gone by pretty quickly, but I of course still have 3 hours left. So that's actually not too bad. Like I'm feeling pretty confident right now. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this book. At first when I had started this book and I had realized that it was from Tella's perspective, I wasn't so sure because I get really attached to characters, and we had obviously been in Scarlett's perspective in the first book, but I kind of like Tella more because she's just a lot more bold and like she's taking more risks than Scarlett did. But anyway, I'm going to take a break. I've obviously already paused the timer and I'm gonna eat some dinner and we will pick up where we left off. I just made it to the end of the book and it's so cool because she has included a whole chapter with her personal annotations. I'm really glad that it ended the way that it did, because otherwise the next series probably would have been so different. That was really good. Okay, I'm gonna wait to rate it because I need to process and I don't want to like just rush into giving it a rating. But that is one book done, the first book of this video. I have an hour and 45 minutes roughly, so I need to figure out what I want to start this evening. I wish you guys could give me your recommendations right now, because that would probably make this so much easier. I'm gonna take a minute to think and I will get back to you when I've decided on our next book. So as you saw last night, I started A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. This is actually a new release, which for me is pretty rare. I I always am like way behind on these kinds of things, but I actually easily made it past 8 hours, so I'm so excited. This is actually turning out to be such a good book. Last night I made it to 32%. I'm on chapter 12, and it really feels like Book Lovers by Emily Henry, but better. Dare I say? It's like small town with an outsider, and you're following the outsider. The difference is that no one knows they're in a book or part of a book series. This is gonna be really easy to finish, really easy to fly through. So basically, she's going into this one house in the town right now, and the description is that they threw lavish parties and filled the pool in the back with champagne. Is that a Taylor Swift reference? I want to be in love. Oh, that was so good though. I've actually avoided romance books in like recent months because I don't know, I feel like when you're in a place where finding love in your own life feels so out of reach. At the beginning of this year, I kind of went through a little weird experience that ended, and then I was sad. So I was kind of just like not in the mood to read about people falling in love. So this is actually the first one that I've read in a couple months. I liked that it kind of went back and forth from real life and real people, real memories, and then her being in this fictional world that she's read about. It just like wrapped up really beautifully, and I'm really glad that she made certain choices, and I'm really happy that they still ended up together, which I'm gonna argue that isn't a spoiler because we all know with romance books they're gonna end up together in the end. I'm gonna pick the next book and then I will catch up with you and we will get into that. I need to recalibrate a bit. But oh. See, this is why I was avoiding reading romance books, because now I'm just like okay. I need to stop. I am a little scared by my choice. I decided on Powerless by Lauren Roberts because I know so many people have been loving those books and I feel very behind. The reason why I'm nervous though is because it is over 500 pages. It says that on average it takes like just over 10 hours to read, which technically in this video I do have time. Oh my god, I'm gonna sleep so much after I finish filming this video. Except I won't because I have to edit. I had some dinner, so I'm feeling a little bit more awake just from that. But I'm also drinking this mushroom cola from GT's. This is actually their new like soda line called Alive, and it's really good. I've had the root beer and the cola multiple times. Love it. Haven't tried the other flavors yet. As someone that has pretty much never had like real Coca-Cola, I feel like this tastes like what I imagine it would taste like. But the point why I brought this up is because this does have 75 milligrams of caffeine. So I'm really hoping that that kicks in. I will say though, as much as my brain is struggling, and like I'm definitely communicating that right now, I have loved the books that I've been reading, and I feel like this is helping me kind of get out of the slump that I was in. I am now starting chapter 1 of Powerless. It is so cold in here. I currently just made it to approximately page 300. I know like Kindle pages are kind of different, so that's why I say approximately. But anyway, I'm about 60% through Powerless now. I did find an audiobook of it on YouTube, so I have been listening to that while I'm reading along on my Kindle, and that has been helping so much because at this point I feel like my brain would not be comprehending things very well. This is helping me follow along with the plot, which, might I add, is still so much like the Hunger Games. Like, I'm genuinely wondering, like, how is this allowed? Like, it's good. It's really good. I think that if this came out before the Hunger Games ever did, this would have probably taken its place in society. But yeah, I'm just like, because it came after, I'm like, okay, this is just so similar. I'm supposed to be so excited right now because I did just complete the challenge. Oh my god. Okay, so I guess now we need to talk about my thoughts after the 24-hour reading challenge. I did read for actually 25 hours pretty much because obviously I wasn't just gonna like stop reading the book before I finished it for this video. Going all the way back to the beginning of this video, I read Legendary by Stephanie Garber. I still have one book left in that trilogy, so I feel like my true thoughts about this world and this series is not gonna really be formed until I finish the last book. But as far as the second book, I really did like it. I really enjoyed following Tella's perspective, and I was totally right with my prediction, and that felt really good. I will say it probably, like, of all the fantasy books that I've read, it's not like it's my favorite world. I do typically love your more traditional fantasy setting over like a carnival game. I think right now that is sitting at like a 4 stars for me. I feel like I am a little far away. Second book, I read A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, which I really love that book. I kind of jumped into it not really knowing much. I feel like I heard mixed reviews, which honestly I'm surprised about now because I really enjoyed the book. I actually am giving it a 5 stars for romance, and I do rank things differently between romance and fantasy. For me to say a fantasy is 5 stars, it's a bigger deal. I love the small town, and I love that it was kind of bridging the gap between like real life and fiction, and I loved that it was the way that it was. If you've read the book, you know, basically all you need to take from this is that if you're looking for a good romance book, I definitely recommend it. I'm probably gonna pick up more of Ashley Poston's books at some point in the near future. And lastly, of course, I ended with reading Powerless, which was 520 pages. So as you heard, as I was reading the book, my thoughts throughout the majority of me reading that book was that it was very similar to The Hunger Games. Basically, if The Hunger Games was a fantasy instead of a dystopian, and I feel like because it was so similar for the vast majority of the book, it's like I'm kind of sitting between like 3.5 to 4 stars just because as much as I loved it, I'm like, okay, there was clearly a lot of inspiration taken from The Hunger Games, which is fine, but it's just kind of like, it's not gonna necessarily have me totally like unwell over it. Like comparing the feeling that I got from reading Throne of Glass, it can't be on that same level. So it's like between a 3.75 and a 4 stars, somewhere in there. The ending was just an absolute whirlwind, and I'm probably gonna pick up the second book just purely based on that ending, and I feel like it may turn into a 5-star series. I can feel that potential there, and I did really enjoy reading about those characters and following their perspectives. So those are my thoughts. Anyway, that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed coming along with me for this journey of this 24-hour reading challenge. If you did enjoy it, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to give this video a like if you did enjoy it. It really does help me out. Here's my Instagram if you'd like to see more content from me. And until next time, I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!